What are you eating at home? Take time out to understand, ask what they're eating, what they could do in terms of, make some progress on the nutrition front. How often are you moving your body? So in my program, because of that very nature of why I love that bedside manner, I implement the 10-minute virtual check-in. So it's a Zoom call, you and I, like this, talking for 10 minutes about what was your win from the week, what was an area where you felt you could have done better, and what are you really trying to get right now, here now? What is your goal, your acute goal right now? Let's unpack that and let's strategize so that we can make some gains for your next check-in, which will be the following week. They send in progress photos the morning of, a front, side, and rear view. And then I have them express their goals. So it's kind of like a, submission form every week. And the photos alone keep people accountable because most clients are like, I don't want to see this. I don't even like looking at my pictures. I'm like, I promise you one day you will like looking at those photos.
And speaking of looking at photos, you are a testament that you must be able to get enough protein in a plant-based diet because you're very muscular. And, I think that is one of the main things that we talk about a lot on Bloom, the syndicated show, and on the Bloom Health Club, is the importance as a female, if you're trying to build strength and muscles, you really need to get that protein in.
Absolutely. But you know what, Gail? It's not only the protein, it's the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your fuel. Protein building blocks, yes, all those things. But if you don't have the energy to be able to replicate and develop and create more cells that are like lean muscle tissue, muscles, for example, you don't just get that solely from protein. You need carbohydrates. And the more intensity and the more drive and the more strength that you have during your workouts, that is going to be evident, right? With your nutrition and implementing carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. It is the type of carbohydrates, and it's how you eat them at a certain point a day. Try to find the most optimal time to consume them. In our program, I always say, your morning meal should look like something like oatmeal, maybe some egg whites, peanut butter. Those are your 3 macros right there: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Or maybe it's, you want to do Ezekiel bread with avocado toast with a side omelet or whatever, or a protein smoothie. Don't be afraid to eat those carbohydrates, because if you kept them early part of the day and you do work out at the 5 a.m. club, you're going to burn that and then some. Yeah. It's all going to go to functionality and optimization of your body and what it needs to do to show you a little love back, because you just showed it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, especially if you perform athletically.
Absolutely.
It makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Yes. Recovery time, you won't be as sore as long. You'll be able to go a little bit longer, your endurance, all the things. It really does benefit you.
So what do you think about like intermittent fasting and stuff like that then?
That's a good question, Brody. I was just going to say that in our program, we do practice intermittent fasting. I've been doing that for probably almost close to 15 years now. Oh, yeah. And I've had 2 children within 2 years, and I know like most mothers, like it's the baby weight, how do you get that off? Or how do you get to a place where you feel comfortable like you did prior to having children? And I say this, first of all, if you haven't tried intermittent fasting, you really need to. And, try to find the window that works for you. So some people will go 16 hours. Some people will go 18. For me, my sweet spot's 14.
Okay.
So right after I'm done eating dinner, I go for my mini walk, whether it's with Alex or my girls or whatever have you. And then I either drink water the rest of the night or a little like a bedtime tea or something. And then I get up, I train, I do cardio first thing in the morning, unpack the mental, focus on what's going on in the day ahead. And then I get to my strength training, and that my lift usually takes around 40 minutes. By the time I'm done lifting, I get home and I get my girls up for school and we have breakfast together around 8 o'clock-ish. I would say my fast is around 14 hours. Sometimes it's 15.
And you work out like that on an empty stomach?
Yes.
That's great. Yeah.
Your body gets used to it, right? Number one. And if you're consistent with it, it'll show you that it's, your abdominal area, especially when women, we're so focused on like, how do I look 3 months pregnant all the time? Like, are these hormones? 9 times out of 10, it's food and something that you ate last night that you shouldn't have. But we don't think about that. We stop the conversations intimately in our brain at some point, and we just kind of go, the easy answer is this. And we stop. We don't answer ourselves. We're not truthful with ourselves. But it's building that intimacy within yourself, that those conversations that you would with your children or your loved ones if they came to you with a problem, right? It's coming back into you and really just facing up like what it is that you need to change. But intermittent fasting is by far probably, I think, the most effective for pretty much anyone that's ever come into the community of Jac Fit.
Yeah, I love it. I've been doing it probably 6 years or so too.
Yeah, you find it's effective?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
It's 12 hours long enough?
12
12 to 13.
Better than nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you take this little nugget home with you, if anything, after you're done eating dinner, you're only then eating if you are emotionally. You're not eating
Oh,
because you're
yeah.
hungry.
Yeah.
See, I'm just because I always try to like eat early. My kids make fun of me.
Right. Yeah.
But I used to get up at 1:30 to go to work every day for
Sure.
years and years and years. So I still am in the practice of getting dinner served by 6.
Right.
And then if you're wrapping up and cleaning up by 7 and you wake up that next morning and like you say, you can get a good 12,
Sure.
13, 14-hour stretch just by breaking the fast, which
Right.
breakfast is supposed to be.
Yes, exactly. And I think the important thing is what are you eating when you break your fast? Because if people are fasting, intermittent fasting, and they're going to things like burgers, fries, you're doing it the wrong way. That is just completely negates the fact that you know what your goal is, what you're trying to achieve. You're not going to get there. It's your intermittent fasting, so it's consistency, but it's also what are you training your body to eat in terms of like functionality? What are you feeding it so that it can break down and utilize it as, you know, a service to your body as opposed to service to your emotional status, basically, right? So it's just as important to really understand what it is that you're eating and why you're eating it, and not just doing it because Jack Fit told you so, right? And that's the whole part of it. We teach people to understand, you know, eating for function versus emotion.
Does it help that you've created this community? Because I think a lot of people feel alone in their health and fitness journey.
For sure. Well, you know, I think like anyone else, most people that are coming into it lost themselves. We have moms of 6. We have women that just, you know, children, no children. They just kind of gave up and they lost their way, that younger version of that vivacious version of themselves. And I really think that a community really helps with that. People want to feel like they belong to something or to someone or a bigger purpose, right? That connectivity, that synergy, that feeling that you get. So when you're around like-minded, positive people, you have no choice but to mold into that.
It's contagious.
Right, right. So, and that is probably the number one thing, that feedback that I'll get from clients is, you know what, Jack, I love the fact that I get a one-to-one on coach, but I really love the fact that we have this group chat that we have during the 6 weeks. You know, we have people sharing pictures, their wins or stories and all the things. And a lot of time vulnerabilities that people are scared to say, like, hey, wait a minute. She feels like that. I feel like that too. Okay, I'm normal. I love this community because it's real. And it's something that you can't really put into words, but you just feel so darn good being in it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I did not want to dilute what you're doing by asking a lot of personal questions about Alex Rodriguez and everything. But my husband, Mark, has a question. He wants to know if
Okay,
A-Rod is as nice in person as he seems. Like my husband's constantly like, yeah, if I ever saw that guy, I would just want to tell him how nice he seems.
Yeah, no, he's a unicorn. I don't even know if the term unicorn applies to a male, but if I were to say he's a unicorn, he's probably one of the most kindest, most thoughtful, generous people I've ever met. You know, none of us are perfect, but the reason why I think we gel so well and our energies are so well blended and it just works. We have 4 girls between us, so that's a lot of estrogen, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
He's like, Jack, I don't know, but you know, they have a great mom, and you know, my girl's father is great, and you know, it's great that you have this support. But what it really is it's the ability to really be grateful every day when you wake up, and he is that person. I mean, he's had a history and he's had a lot of shade thrown at him, but you know what? I feel like any person that's willing to own up to it and then try to become better with themselves and make it their mission to be a better version of themselves, you have to, you know, a standing ovation for anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the people that, you know, repeatedly make the mistakes and do the things that, you know, obviously aren't, you know, admired or maybe even frowned upon. They keep making those mistakes. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that person is that person, but you can never fault anyone for trying to be a better version of themselves.
Amen
And
to that.
he truly is. I mean, it's funny because we just sit, like on the weekend, we were in Miami and we're watching, I don't know we were watching the basketball in Dallas. Of course, the T-Wolves are out and, you know, they're amazing, but they did a really great job. We have to be proud of them. But we're both sitting there going, you know what, isn't life great? We're watching a basketball game. We're in Miami, you know, like everyone's healthy, all the things. And when you stop and just even mutter those 2 words like that between like you and your spouse, for example, you realize you're like, you know what? That is true. And it gives you that clear vision of like, things aren't so bad. Glass is half full. And so we're a lot alike in that way. But he's, I mean, I don't want to speak too highly of him because people think I'm BSing here, but he's actually a great guy.
No, I believe it. He seems that way. He seems that way. Well, listen, you're an amazing woman. We celebrate what you're doing. I think it's incredible the lives that you're changing through Jac Fit and just through your own personal passion, because I've spent, almost half the day with you now, because if you tune in on Wednesday, you'll see Jac on Bloom, which is our globally syndicated show headquartered here in Tampa, Florida. We're super excited that she's now an official member of the Bloom Health Club. So Jac, thanks for everything. Brody, thanks for all you did to support this amazing woman with your article.
Thank you,
Brody.
We
appreciate you.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate you guys. Jacfit.com is where you can find me.
And that's Jac, JACFIT.com.
Okay. You know what? I'm probably more enticed to like questions. Obviously we get questions and you're inundated in your box, your DM box. So that's why I have a great team that helps me out with that. But even if it's just a question, it doesn't even matter if you're trying to join or not. I'm going to take the time out to answer you. Because if you took the time out to write that question down, whether it's you think it's the most simple or most difficult question, I'm gonna take the time to answer you, because I've had a lot of hands extended to me, and I just know that paying that forward really does count.
Well, I've already submitted my question that I want to be part of this 6-week challenge and bring you back to Bloom, in the future when you're not busy.
Absolutely.
And maybe see how that all plays out and let people experience it alongside. I think that would be really fun TV.
Absolutely. We'll crush it together.
All right. Thanks, Jac.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, everybody.